in the woods.
Right, come on, you fatty. Come on, fatty.
I don't even know who lives in there or what the hell's going on there.
Could I sleep in there today? Oh, no room.
And we're on the way there. Ignore the fart. We go and a bit of that, and a bit of...
Singers, James, singers I've got. My pedal broke, man. And thanks to Showdown Bros, Mick is on the most useless street in the world. Come on!
Always keep a shoe in your kitchen department, guys.
Don't worry, it's the COVID talking. It's probably wild boar, a few bears, a lot of women washing their cars saying hi on the side of the road.
Go on, Mick, feel it, Mick, feel it, feel it. I might be going mad.
Want to see me underwear?
If you've watched this channel and haven't looked into the Where is Mick series, you may need a little refresher. Mick Claridge is attempting to ride his bicycle around the world, and we've been documenting his journey. It's had lots of ups and downs, but sadly the down was just about rock bottom lately, and nearly all of his equipment was stolen. After returning home with his fans' encouragement, he's resolved to get back on the road and get back in the saddle. So in an effort to help him out, we're holding the Where is Mick charity races, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Craig King. Behind the scenes is our director, Ryan Bauer, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Let's kick things off today with a little whimsy. Let's put the trucks on a classic sports car course and introduce you to Laguna Seca. Welcome to Laguna Seca. Located just east of Monterey, California, it's hard to deny that this is one of the more scenic American road courses. It travels up and down a hillside which not only offers spectacular views, but one of racing's most iconic corners. Clocking in at 2¼ miles in length, 11 turns split up the current configuration. I say current because up until 1988, the track's layout was shockingly simple with a mere 9 dangerously fast corners. But despite becoming a much more technical track, this difficult nature was retained in its modern form. Turn 6 in particular places an emphasis on precision and daring with its tricky dip at the apex and narrow racing line. But the most well-known spot on the track is of course the corkscrew. Blind and kinked on entry, it then whips the driver through a chicane which drops you nearly 60 feet. It's earned a reputation worldwide for forcing even the most daring competitors to second-guess themselves. But there's honestly a refreshingly wide variety in types of corners, making it a perfect track for driver coaching and training. Elevation changes, differing cambers, and every sort of apex imaginable leaves seasoned veterans and newcomers alike spending hours trying to perfect a lap. With the track becoming popular for hosting IMSA, IndyCar, and MotoGP in its recent history, it also brings out lots of vintage racers due to the Monterey historics each year. Likely to remain a fixture on the American racing scene, this legendary circuit is almost always high on drivers' best of lists. Its history and its uniqueness are sure to delight all for years to come. Well, Craig, this is a track that's going to be well familiar to pretty much every driver here, but maybe not in this car.
Yeah, you know, I was going to do a really nice in-depth review of this track and what to expect, but it's kind of going to be a little bit ignored by some of these drivers because you look at the start, the hairpin, that's always a danger point. You look at those tight right-handers at the start of the track as well, that's a danger point. The corkscrew, we all know the corkscrew. It is a very tricky downhill corner, but the more I think about it, the more I think, how are these drivers going to take it when limits are ignored? And there's going to be a lot of off-roading going down that corkscrew. There's going to be a lot of people trying to drift the Andretti hairpin today. It's going to be one of those tracks where let's just throw caution out the window and let's just ask the drivers what are track limits, because I don't think they're going to follow them today, Joe.
Most likely not. It should be fun getting to see them try and be creative since these trucks can go pretty much anywhere. And so here's how the race is going to work today. This is going to be a 20-minute event. It is in the Pro 2 Lite. So this is both a free circuit and a free car if you have an iRacing account that comes with it. Top 5 advance the feature. Now, that was initially the plan, but I suspect that based on the attendance that we had in the previous 2 races, that this is mostly just everybody who is able to make it to the final are signed up for it. So mostly just here for fun. And as we've been mentioning, no track limit. So if there's walls, that's about the edge of the track limit. Basically, any of the dirt at the edge of the track, since these trucks are made for being off-road, they can go anywhere they please and try to figure out what is the quickest way around. Right now, they are just finishing up practice. They'll have 10 minutes of qualifying, which might be interesting. I don't think qualifying will mean necessarily a whole lot in terms of track position, Craig, but the one thing they can't do in qualifying is go off track because that'll delete the lap anyway. So hopefully some have practiced actually sticking on the course.
It doesn't look like they have done that. And also, it's a one-lap quali. So they literally do their out lap, do a 1 lap, and that's everything. It's going to be interesting to see who can keep the cars on the track the longest to see what happens. But again, it does not matter what happens here. Morris out here at the moment with the Tonka number 10. And this is not an off track. Don't worry about it. This doesn't affect anybody. Loving the camera work, though. Yet again, coming out with this fantastic camera. Onto the bones we go. Onto the wishbones and the trailing arms. Really interesting look of how to trade this track.
Yeah, so John Olsen here on his way and trying to at least stay on the pavement, it looks like this time, which, as you can tell, with the creative racing lines has gotten quite dirty, but thankfully these trucks, again, should be able to handle all that dirt that's been spread across the circuit itself as he comes down into turn 5. Does look like he's trying at least to stay on the track, and I believe we've got, I think it's 15 cars out here today. So again, I don't know that it'll be all that important to have track position, especially since it will be very wide out here in terms of where you can travel. But here is Ben Lafter's view. Ben's done a lot of work behind the scenes to get this going. He's been kind of the mastermind to organize all of this and get everybody out on the track. And he's going to enjoy a little bit of the fruits of his labor today.
Yeah, and now it's time to really let your hair down. It is a bit of a stress sometimes organizing events like this, and once it's there, you're ready to go. Here's Glenn Becker on board with his VR camera. No cats in the vicinity today, but that could all change. We have seen that before the race. He's coming up. Be interesting to see how this car takes the corkscrew on track limits as he brakes for the normal spot. That's going to be very hard to turn it down onto the overhead camera. Does so. It's tough in any car, but when you've got so much height difference there, it's even more impossible.
Yeah, you're sitting very high up in these cars, so it's probably very difficult to spot your marker in this thing, as well as trying to get it to turn in, considering it's going to want to roll over quite a bit. As we check in with Mick Claridge, the man of the hour. He was able to get to a sim rig today. He is at his son's place and borrowing his rig just for this one race. But he's been packing back up to get ready to get back on the road. He's been we talked to him yesterday. He's extremely humbled by the outpouring of support that everybody's had. And again, if you do want to donate, we have a GoFundMe link in the YouTube description. So you can just head down there, and we've raised, as far as from what I saw yesterday, I believe it is over $4K towards the $6,000 goal that they have to try and replace all the equipment. And that's the big thing here. Is the reason we had to raise funds is because literally everything, Craig, his bike, all that was on it, the only thing he was left with was what was on his back and in his pockets. So his phone, his camera, and a few other things. A little bit of money was on him, his passport, obviously. And he had to trudge through the desert to get back to a place where he could, get a bus and eventually fly home.
Yeah, it's such a shame. If you see on that GoFundMe link, there's a nice photo of him with his bike with Sally and everything on it. When you see that photo, you understand everything. That when we say everything's gone, you understand it, because that, as we all say, it's the pack horse, that bike. It has gone through a lot with Mick, and you can just see how much at the end of the day, you could say, most people would say it's sentimental about it. It's a lot of memories on that bike, a lot of time there spent on that saddle, and there's so much love there. And I must admit, did forget to, and I will be later on today, throwing some money my way as Bjorn is coming round for his lap. I believe Glenn Becker I was just watching Glenn Becker. He just had an off track as well, as Togo Hisada now comes. Now I'm curious, Joe, to see what Togo can do in one of these cars, because we know, if you've seen his social medias, we know what he can do in a Lotus 49 and an Audi GTO. He can really whip the back out. I reckon we might see that today.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to be quick if he can keep it within the track boundaries. So far, we've had 3 drivers manage to do that here in qualifying. We've got half the time left at 5 minutes. Remember, it's a single lap qualifying. So definitely a few having some troubles out there. And Mick Claridge has managed it as well. However, he's the slowest of those so far. Yeah, that said, everybody who has set a time, now make that 5, has been within a second of each other. So that's relatively close.
Relatively close. I was looking at some stats. This is actually the second slowest car, actually third slowest car that can lap Laguna Seca on the service. The other 2 have a prize. You don't get a prize, but you can take a wild guess what they are if you are there in chat. But it'd be interesting to have a look at that. Togo Hisada, though, he's be coming around for his final lap. Keeps it on the asphalt and keeps it going. This looks like a very good time. And Jim there, he is going to set a fastest time.
Of course, Jim Shedlick would go up and top the timing sheets. Ooh, Togo not so fast, though. 46.8. Shedlick's quickest time was a 44.7. In fact, he was 1.3 seconds faster than Ben Lafter. Jim really kind of smacked the field down on that one. Isan Gin in the 2:13, working on his qualifying time as he comes up to the corkscrew here. Going to have to brake very early, try and get it down to the apex, and looks like he is doing so quite nicely. That was a very good line through there.
Yeah, one of the cleanest lines we've seen so far. So now he's got the last few corners of the track into turn 10. He will go shortly. Let's see how much he cuts the disc. You can cut up to that little rumble strip. Doesn't go near it. Goes over a nice little bit into the exit of 10. And now tries not to hit that gravel for the braking for the final corner. Use all that runoff. That's what it's designed for. Very clean final sector there for Isan.
All right, where is this going to put him, though? He'll cross the line. A 47.3. Unfortunately, that's slowest of everybody who set a time. So he puts himself into 8th, at least momentarily. Phil Lake back after he hopped in the camel cars yesterday as he absolutely drifts it around the corkscrew. So probably not going to be fast, that one. But we'll see if he at least sets a time here. Yeah, you have to wonder how difficult it is to try and manage the tires, even around 1 lap around here, because it's 112 Fahrenheit on the track, and these are off-road tires, so they're probably just screaming to be cooled down by the end of the lap.
Yeah, I wanted to make a joke about, the tires will be heating up, it's going to spin the tires, they're going to lose grip. They have no grip to begin with on these tires, and you know how when you see drivers driving in the rain, when the dry line starts and they try to use a different line to dip in to try and cool those tires down, that's kind of what this car needs when they go into the gravel. Phil Lake to setting a 6th fastest time. And that's what they expect to see. And in some respects, that's probably a good thing that there are no incident points or track limits, because they may need to rely on that gravel quite a lot.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just trying to keep those cool as he's going to continue to practice here what is going to be the regular line. I don't see anybody else out there. Emerson Gaudin is waiting in pit lane, but I don't think we're going to be seeing anybody be able to make a lap. In fact, Emerson's trying to emerge, but he's going to have to do the outlap and set a time, which there is not enough time left for that, unfortunately. So that means that our grid is set for this one. So 15 cars, actually I think maybe 16 now. Yeah, 16. We've had one more driver show up here, going to be taking part in today's race. And above them all, Jim Shedlick has managed to put it on the pole by a pretty wide margin. So I imagine he's going to be difficult to beat. But again, it's going to be different between qualifying and the race itself, as the lines are not limited to the track like here in qualifying. Ben Lafter has managed to take the front row. Obviously, he's had a bit of practice in the warm-up for this, I'm sure, as he's been setting up. And John Olson will be starting on the inside of that second row with Rob Olenek, another Lotus 49 regular, coming in and showing, I guess that's a good comparison, that car to this one, as he'll be starting in 4th. Bjorn Ackerman has been out there for quite some time today practicing, and that was good enough to get him a 5th, at least in qualifying. We saw Phil Lake just a moment ago put it into the 6th position next to him. Toga Hisada can't seem to translate the 49 pace here into the trucks. We'll see if that changes and he adapts as it goes on. He'll start from 7th today. Mick Claridge, the man we're all working to get back on the road, has managed to join them. He'll start from 8th position. And then the last one to set a time was Isan Gin in the 9th spot. And the first driver to be gridded up behind them is going to be Steve Morris.
Yep, and of course it will all go down now, in theory, by their iRating. So the rest of the drivers will be Jeff Sanders, Glenn Becker, Emerson Gordon, Stuart Morris, Andrew Gederick as well. So only half the field, just over half the field, setting a lap time here for a 16-car field. And I believe it's a grid start as well.
It is, yeah. It is a standing start. It is cooled down some, 101 Fahrenheit now on the track, 38 Celsius. Hopefully that'll help them out a little bit. So we wait for the trucks to find their way to the grid. Not a place where you want to get tangled, though, on a standing start, Craig. It's basically almost like a street course here with walls right on either side.
It's walls. If you've seen the history around here, there's a lot of walls and a lot of carnage. You got a nice little bit of runoff, though, going into the hairpin, but we also know that these drivers may be trying to send it hard into that hairpin, using the gravel to their advantage. Who gets the advantage on the exit of turn 2 is going to be crucial.
I did see people getting creative and trying to cut in and use the pavement of the pit exit as well to try and speed up that first corner. We'll see if that works or not, but definitely a few drivers were trying it, as we're just waiting on Phil Lake now. And then we should be good. There he is. So everybody is out on track at this point. The engines now start to rev as the lights come up and the green flag is out. Whoa, some people have absolutely taken off early, I suppose, since they can get rid of the black flags. There's a few that are trying to get creative with the rules there as well as they fly down into the first quarter. Shedlick, though, is well clear of the chaos, and he is going to try and see if he can streak ahead. A few drivers definitely cutting down to the inside, others going very wide. This is going to be sketchy as they go 4 and 5 wide. Somebody's already on their lid, unfortunately, and off to the side.
Yep, got to see who that was. I think that might have been John Olson. Mick Claridge is basically saying, take the least road traveled, and he's doing all he can. Look at this. He's actually going to try and make a move around the outside here on Morris. Don't think he's going to get it. He goes very wide, almost tapping the gravel there. He is now in a battle with Ackerman right behind him, though.
Oh, but Jim Shedlick is absolutely running away. Look at the gap between himself and Steve Morris as, Mick Claridge going to cut to the inside a little bit, see if he can go any quicker, and he runs into the side of Steve Morris slightly as they approach through turn 6. This is going to be much wider than it normally is. Most of the drivers cutting down through the dirt and gravel. Mick is now moving up into second.
Mick is moving into second, and there's 2.5 second gap between him and Shedlick at the start of this race. Here comes the move dove from Morris, and he goes absolutely in the air there to get advantage from Mick Claridge. More drivers taking as much air as they can. Well, that's one way to take the corkscrew.
And Shedlick was much slower through there. He's now been caught, and it has been run down as Steve Morris is going to try and catch up to him. He's using the pavement quite a bit, and I have to say, it looks like it's working, finding him speed, although he goes into the back of Jim Shedlick down through the final turn.
Into the back of Jim Shedlick, and I think we may have just lost Mick Claridge as well as some internet issue. That's not what we want to see. But now we've got a 3 wide behind those two there, and it looks like it's Ackerman, Lake, and Laughter going 3 wide down into the first corner. A little bit of bumping there. Watch out for that's Ojanezek there. Could be taking it forward, decides against it, and almost Ackerman going around.
Oh, and somebody gets tipped over as well. Once again, I think that was Ben Laughter making contact. I think that was Emerson Godin, who is stuck on his side, and he's trying desperately to get the truck to roll. More drivers coming together, coming through turn 3. Gatorick, a part of that, but he keeps it on the black stuff, at least for now, although he hits the inside wall and tips himself out into Togo Husada, who's moved into 6th. Steve Morris is now leading this race over Jim Shedlick.
Yeah, leading the race with a really good mover in the rear camera with him. You start to see everybody behind. Everyone's still fighting in the background as well. A little bit of single file in front and behind him, though, but there is some 2x2s that we just saw. Look at the lines. It's so interesting to see how inventive they're going. Do you cut early? Do you just go full throttle and go wide? Everyone taking as many lines as they can.
This is really wild to see it as they come up to the corkscrew once again. Oh no, it's way too deep there for Steve Morris, and he's actually going to collect Shedlick, as well as I think Bjorn Ackerman, going past all of them. Phil Lake has survived the melee, and into the lead he goes.
And Becker in the background got flipped around as well before he even made it to the exit of the carousel. Everybody just having a small moment there, so they do have a fast repair that they can use, and they are going to have to do this. But this means Phil Lake retains the lead. Steve Morris is there with Andrew Gaelic as well straight away, but it looks like Morris just makes a mistake at the final corner.
Yeah, went a little bit wide. You're right, they do have 2 spare trucks waiting for them if they need. Morris made contact there. I think that was with Bjorn Ackerman down the front stretch, and they hit the wall. So they can go in and get a spare truck, but they're likely not going to be in the hunt for the victory here. As down to the inside, Phil Lake still using that inside line. So is Hisada and Gatorick trying to shorten up that Andretti hairpin.
Man, I've always wanted to use that inside line to make some moves there. Just fantastic. Can't do it normal racing, but remember, it's not the pit lane, it's the pit exit, so there are no rules there for unsafe entry, so they can use as much as they want. On board with Jeff Sanders, though, a little bit of a tap there in front there with Tyler. Just goes to see. By the way, is that a Legends advertisement there? I believe it is.
Grand Prix Legends, yes, a lot of the drivers from the 49s have elected to wear this livery, and I have to say it looks pretty good on the truck. As definitely missing a little bit of bodywork here is Steve Morris, as Rob Olenek is chasing him down for a top 5.
Yeah, Olenek there trying to get him chased down. Just so close. He's the only driver in the top 6 to lose position from where they started, because let's be honest, it doesn't matter too much. Let's see what line he takes. It's almost like it's a wide line. It's going to help him, though, because Steve Morris almost went on his nose in front of him.
Oof. We have to point out Morris started in 15th here, and he did have a little bit of a jump start compared to the others, but he's still been doing pretty good up at the front of the field. Is a little wide there. Goes Rob Olenek trying to hold off Bill Tyler, who cuts down to the inside, then covers him off as they go around the final hairpin once again. Morris using plenty of the track, but as he goes back in front, there's contact between himself and Bill Tyler.
That's been a bit of contact. It's going to take it 3 wide. No, it's only going to be 2 wide. There's nowhere for Rob to go. Can he even find a way? He may use this inside line. Let's just see if he goes for it. Nope. A little bit of a tap onto Tyler. He has to follow the same line. And it looks like Morris, he's having a little bit of trouble there. He's trying to slide the car, and he's losing all that momentum.
Oh, he actually got into the wall there that time, and he's actually stuck. There he is in the background. He somehow got it stuck, sort of saddled over the wall. Let's take a look at his replay of the start. This is him taking off. And, well, he thought he could kind of squeeze up the inside, but eventually someone had covered him off.
Beep, beep, excuse me, I want to get through. Please, I want to get through. He got through. Oh, unfortunately, though, I think he's paid the price by getting stuck there. As I think we've got 10 drivers out on the track. The rest of them, I believe, are in the pits or towing in the pits in the moment. But Togo Sasada, he hadn't had the chance to use some of those Lotus skills at the moment, but he really has been throwing that car down the corkscrew.
He is to the top 3, though, so he's starting to pick it up, and he's chasing Andrew Gatorick here in that number 12. In fact, he's going to look down to the inside here of turn 10, chasing on Phil Lake, and he's going to try and do a little bit of a slide job down in front of him, switching back around the outside. Andrew going to try and cut back, and he does get the inside of the final hairpin and out drags him.
Never thought I'd see a cut back here. There's a car on its roof right behind them. That is the Shedlick right there as they go by. But now they're going to take this side by side. Gatorick and Hisada looking to see who gets the move. Philip Lake is way ahead at the moment. You may think that somebody might try and neutralize the field at the moment, but there goes Gatorick. He takes P2 away from Hisada.
12 minutes left in this race. Glenn Becker's a lap down. He's going to try and stay out of the way of this battle for the lead. Whoa! Big roll for Hisada. Monster roll as he gets hit by the side into turn 3, and eventually he gets it on the wheels, but he went for a wild, wild ride here.
Yeah, let's just take this. Let's just give you the build up here. He starts to go for this battle, and he misses out because he can't get on that tarmac there. Very interesting strategy. There's Mick Claridge there. Hi, Mick. How are you doing, Mick? You're not going to do anything bad, are you, Mick? Mick? Ah. Well, at least there's some safety that he landed on all 4 wheels.
Yeah, so he's actually still running in 4th, and the car is so hardy that it doesn't look like he needs to go in. Yeah, he doesn't have a black and orange flag, so he's safe to go. And he is still in 4th place. He's about 9 seconds behind the lead. Phil Lake is not leading by much. Andrew Gatorick is about a second behind and chasing hard.
He's chasing hard. In fact, look at it. He's being able to, he's keeping the car. He's doing the early turning, and he's not trying to go wide on the exit there. So he's keeping on the tarmac when the throttle starts to roll up there, and it's helping him. The gap now 1.5 seconds. I believe he may have even taken a second away there. Over Trengerade, unfortunately, he can't start the car. He's got issues in the pit lane. He can't start the car, but this gap now, as he took half a second away, Gatorick is starting to close up.
We could have a real race on our hands. Olsen in front of them might be a factor, as well as lap traffic. Mick Claridge, who is 2 laps down, is not giving away any chance at having some fun with them. As you can see him heading through turn 3. Yes, he is looking like he's 3rd on track, but he's currently running 15th and last due to his disconnect, unfortunately. But again, this is mostly for fun, so the drivers are out there duly doing so. Meanwhile, Bill Tyler side-by-side action with Bjorn Ackerman for 4th place, but Bjorn is going to be able to pull in front of him.
Yep, able to pull ahead, and now he's got a little bit of gap there as well, just in front of Togo Hisada, who goes for a slide. So we've got the Grand Prix Legend cars running in really good positions there, giving all the shield they want. Tyler, though, getting a really good exit. It feels like Bjorn maybe a little bit down on top speed, because Tyler straight away got up to him before they came to turn 6.
So Tyler going to see if he can challenge Ackerman here for P4. As Hisada tries to run away from them, but Hisada goes deep into the corner. He's going to go a little bit slow here. That actually holds up his fellow Lotus 49er, Bjorn Ackerman, but it looks like Bill has not got any place to take his truck. He tries to swing wide down through Rainy Curve. It'll switch back into turn 10 here. He'll take the far inside line in comparison to Hisada, but Hisada has the speed, and he'll take 4th.
Has the speed, has the momentum there, and it just goes to show how much a lockup in these cars, in these trucks, sorry, they're not cars, they're trucks, can really cost you as Togo Hisada continues to go. The lead battle's also closing up as well. It is getting pretty nip and tuck in the front. I say that, Phil Lake's just had a spin.
So that gives up some time. Actually, that gives up the lead. Gatorick wasn't leading before, was he?
No, he wasn't.
Oh, wow. So Andrew is now your top driver, And here is Lake. Did he have some help? He did. Unfortunately, the 37 getting into him. And Gatorick actually running into the side of Phil Lake. So here is John Olsen having that unfortunate contact.
And not to scare Andrew, but Mick and John are in front of him. And I'm not going to say they're going to do things, but let's just say we're in it for the fun. Is Andrew going to start doing a Sebastian Vettel and start calling for blue flag, or is he just going to have to fight for his life?
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. He's still taking the racing line. He's not pulling over for him. As they fly down into the corkscrew, he's looking a little bit out of shape, though, and that does hold up Gatorick, who's got no place to take his speed. Phil Lake now catching up to the back of him.
Yeah, that gap's gone down to 2 seconds. He could have a chance to get this position back. Toga Husada also getting past Ackerman, as well as those two having their battle. A little bit of contact there between Claridge and Olsen as they try to get around it. But now all of a sudden, if you are Andrew Gatorick, you've got to watch out for a moment like that from John Olsen.
He does get him at least briefly at the side, but doesn't knock him off course. It's down to 1.2 seconds, 7 minutes left on the clock, and Phil Lake still chasing hard. Husada is a long ways away back there in third. He's still trying to hold off Ackerman and Tyler. They've been swapping positions as well as we once again go down into the Andretti hairpin. Looks like Gatorick is able to stay away from that pair that have been stuck around him. But now as they swing into turn 3, Mick's going to stay wide. Oh, they almost make contact as we watch from on board Lake.
Yeah, on board with Lake, they almost make contact. This allows Phillip to get there, but you know that Mick is not going to let somebody just take the win so easily with 7 minutes left in the race. Taking some really aggressive lines, really wide lines. Let's just see, can you even spot him when he's gone that far wide? You can't. Look at the exit. He's going to open up the steering, holds up Gatorick yet again, and holds him up again.
He goes to the inside. Not sure if that's protecting the line or what. Gatorick's going to try and mostly stay on the track there. Oh, but taking a lot of speed down the inside. Phil Lake side by side, coming up into the corkscrew. This is going to be difficult to make stick coming through here. Who can hold out as they both try and break as deep as they can, cutting back across, almost rolling the truck. Gatorick does not have the pace, and Phil Lake is back to the front.
Gatorick almost had the run there, but they both hit the bumps, and they both hit the bumps in different ways. And now John Olsen gets ahead of Gatorick there and almost goes around again. And now you've got to keep your eyes out because now Phil Lake is a victim as well. I think both of these guys are getting a little bit bodied here by 2 of the lap cars. Yeah,
Mick was just trying to take the racing line, and Phil Lake found himself getting absolutely elbowed as they now fly down the front stretch. Mick having some serious fun out here. Even though he's not racing for position, he's making life interesting for both of these drivers. Who goes where down into Andretti this time?
Oh, look at the leaders. They are actually taking the slow line. It's almost like they're trying to take the chicane, the hairpin, sorry, normally, but with a little bit of a difference. Now, Isan as well is now there in front. So the lap cars really causing havoc. This does feel a little bit, if I'm one of those drivers, if I'm Philip, if I'm Andrew, I'm getting a little bit paranoid right now.
Yeah. Just try and give a wide berth to both of those cars that are not racing for position here. Isan not pulling out of the way either. He's going to try and race hard and also stay on the track itself as Mick once again moving to the inside, but he's not close enough to Phil Lake to make contact this time. Gatorick about 1.2 seconds back, separated by Mick currently.
Yeah, oh, look at the line by Phil. He's got that line mastered right now. That gravel's looking like it's knockhill right now in the West in the British Touring Car Championship. But Lake gets ahead, and this is not a corner that you can speed up to try and take somebody out without causing serious damage. Everybody takes the bump, and Isan hits the barrier, and that flips a car. Also, Gatorick got hit by that as well.
Yeah, that hurt him greatly. It's up to 2.5 seconds now. But Phil Lake still carrying on as this time Mick tries not to get into him and is able to take the line. So Gatorick unfortunately disadvantaged, and he has 4 minutes left to try and make it up.
Anything can happen in 4 minutes. We know that. Just one mistake by any driver. I'm saying any driver. That could be Andrew, that could be Mick, that could be Philip. Anything can happen. Even Steve Morris, he's 9 seconds up the road for Philip, but anything can happen. Look at the wide line that Mick is taking. Mick, no! Oh, I thought that was going to be a little bit of carnage there.
He managed to stay out of him. Behind him, it is a bit of a trouble between Gatorek and Olsen, causing Andrew to once again be a little bit slow here as he fights him around every corner, trying to see if he can catch up to that 15.
He's not going to be able to catch up there if he's got Olsen trying to hinder him from behind. But wide goes Olsen. I know this is the line they're taking, but it's still wide goes Olsen. And he's not going to be able to get a nice run here. But that gap is now 4 seconds between Phil and Andrew at the moment.
Yeah, so that battle is separated. That means our closest fight now is between Bill Tyler and Togo Hisada for fourth, who are close behind Bjorn Ackerman. The last step on the podium is the one that's up for grabs here with 3 minutes left on the clock. Togo drifting out into the dirt. It's very interesting seeing how drivers are strategically using either the shorter line or the grip that the pavement does offer.
Yeah, I think the shorter line is probably the better way to go. To start to see how all these guys just taking and almost taking the corkscrew if the corkscrew was wider, and you see the bumps just catching some of the drivers out. So is Togo. It's very interesting to see how that line just gives them what they want, instead of the likes of Mick Claridge and those type of drivers taking the aggressive line to get more on the exit.
Down to the inside of Olsen, Tyler. Hisada was unable to get down beside the 23 as they exit the final turn. Who gets the better run? Does look like Ackerman is going to keep himself clear. It'll all depend on who goes where down into Andretti.
Let's just see who takes the shallow line and uses the pit lane to their advantage. And it looks like it's going to be Ackerman first. And Tyler doesn't even attempt to make a move, but they both made a mistake. They're both going to come together, and they all come together, and all of a sudden Hisada almost thought he had P3 there, but no, he's still in P4.
So Hisada does move up one position past Tyler with that move, and they're approaching the other Lotus 49 truck, John Olsen, who looks like he's had some serious problems because he's also missing a little bit of body work. So will he play a factor in this and try to help out his fellow Lotus 49 racers?
I'm not saying teamwork's being involved here. However, teamwork might be involved. Togo using all the gravel, the tarmac here. Gravel? No, he's using none of the gravel there, trying to get a better line. It actually has worked for him in that situation. And now as they cut through up into turn 6, he's got a nice little run here. But you've got to be careful because you've got 2 teammates in front of you.
Okay, so Hisada trying to see if he can get past Bjorn Ackerman without losing to Tyler. Both of them bottoming out as they go through the corkscrew. Does look like Ackerman was much better through there. Meanwhile, white flag is out for Phil Lake as he comes to the start-finish line.
Comes to the start-finish line there as Barney waving the white flag. Hisada does have that move finally in the background as we start to see Phil with that 2-second lead. There is Hisada in the middle of those 3 legend cars, and you start to see maybe Bjorn can make a move here, or maybe he's just going to go for a bump draft.
Getting right up to the rear of that Pro 2 light truck. He's helping him along. What's Olsen going to do? He's going to cut down to the inside as the others go a little bit wide down to the very tight inside. Bill Tyler, can he get a 2 for 1? He can't get the drive off the corner.
He almost had 1, but he couldn't even get that done. And look at Hisada taking a different line to what they're used to. Now around the outside, a tap there from Ackerman on the exit of turn 3, and now the outside belongs to Hisada as Ackerman's going to take this, but is that move around? There's no drifting there from Hisada. That may have paid off for him.
Again, I am just amazed at the way the drivers are able to find speed in so many different ways around here, and it's just about even depending on if you stay on the track or you go off as they come up the hill. Phil Lake being slowed up now by Steve Morris, who he's caught up to. So I wonder if that's going to play a part. Yeah, Andrew is catching up big time. This is now a battle for the lead. Gatorek has caught him, but Mick Claridge is once again in the middle of it all.
Mick is trying to play the decisive factor here at the moment. He does not want one of these drivers to win. He's almost going to try and take out Philip Lake, and he's gone wide. One more corner for Clark to do anything if he wants to affect this result. And he takes the inside away, and it may be for Philip Lake, but I believe Andrew cannot make it.
Phil Lake somehow threads the needle, and he is going to take the win here in the first race of the day in the Mick Claridge charity races. Gatorick takes second. Hisada sits in third with Bill Tyler close behind. Something happened to Ackerman. He is gone. Both of them bounding off the tire barrier, using up every inch of it.
Yeah, not sure what happened to Ackerman, but he does get overtaken from Jeff Saunders, another Legends driver. Then he will take that, so Ackerman will go down to P6 after all this. We had 8 cars finish on the lead lap, so a very entertaining battle. Emerson Gordon we might be waiting a while for.
Yeah, he's still coming around, and Steve Morris is going to be the last one that will get to the line. So I believe that will wrap up this race. Let's go over the finishing results on this one. Phil Lake takes the win as Andrew Gatorick fought him all the way to the end and was 0.6 of a second shy in the end. Togo Hisada finished P3 with Bill Tyler in 4th and Jeff Saunders in the 5th position. After that, Bjorn Ackerman finished in the 6th spot, followed by Rob Olenek, P7, and Emerson Gaudin coming home in 8th. Ben Laughter in the race that he set up had to settle for 9th spot. Steve Morris will take a 10th. Actually, last car, it looks like, on the lead lap. What about the next few here, Craig?
Yeah, these are all the lap down cars. John Olsen will finish 11th. Glenn Becker will be 12th. Isan Gin will take 13th, and Jim Shedrick will be 14th. Mick Claridge had that moment at the start of the race with a connection problem, will be 15th. And Ove Trangarade could not get the car to start. Has anyone got any jumper cables for him?
Yeah, I was watching that. It was really sad to see him. You can see the wild start here as they work their way through the first corner. I do believe that we at least have Ben Laughter, the man that has set all this up over the past few days, ready to chat with us. Ben didn't get to finish, I'm sure, as high as you would have liked in this one, but from up here, it looked like an absolute hoot. What was it like down on the track itself?
It's a new obsession, Joe. This is a thing that needs to happen as a league very regularly. That was more fun than should be legal, and the guys were such good sports. It was hilarious and fun, and I loved every moment of it.
I have to confess, I have seen this before. I don't know if it was with specifically the Pro 2 lights, but definitely with the trucks around here without track limits. And yes, every time I see it, it is just too much fun. I know a lot of the drivers probably going to be heading over into the second one. Now, I know plans have slightly changed, I believe. Is it just everybody who signs in going to be allowed to compete in this last race, or how are we working?
Yeah. If you're in the Vintage Discords and you've got the password, come on in. Let's put on a show. Let's have some fun.
Well, why don't we put on a show with you and Mick here, because he has hopped in. Unfortunately, had a few connection problems, but he still played a part in the race for the win itself. Mick, how much were you intentionally trying to affect that battle for the victory?
Oh, can you hear me all right, Joe?
Yep, we got you.
Yeah. No, I did. Yes, it wasn't until I looked down and I thought, oh, look, there's Phil. Oh, look, he's leading. I'll have a fight with him. And then I just thought, oh, yeah, this will be good TV. So I just thought, yeah, I'd carry on and have a mess around with him. It's the first real race I've ever had with Phil.
Go figure.
You're the man of the hour. You're allowed to be a hooligan.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've got both of you here this time. Mick, I know you've worked very closely with Ben to help put this all together. I mean,
absolutely, yeah.
Talk to me, both of you guys, about how you're feeling after seeing all this happening, and Mick, how you're feeling about all that Ben's done to help you out here.
I can't thank the guy enough. He changed my mind on doing the ride. So, I mean, it wasn't on. You know, like I said to you yesterday, Joe, and you were right yesterday. You know, when you said he was probably scared walking back through Kazakhstan. You're damn right. I only spent a day there to walk 12 odd miles back to the town through desert was pretty demoralising, to say the least. And I come back and I got an illness on the way back. I think I got COVID on the flight coming back, so I was out of action for a couple of weeks. And then Ben just hit me, and he wouldn't take any of my crap. Basically, that's what happened. Really, he just changed my view on it. And then Bjorn came along and said about the T-shirt thing. So yeah, can't thank the guys enough. Really can't thank them enough. I'll never forget it. Never forget it for as long as I live.
Ben, I know you had some involvement with the armed forces previously. Is that kind of the never say die attitude coming out?
Well, sure. I mean, I think anytime you serve in the military, you develop a certain attitude against inaction, a bias against it. And so, when Mick was sounding pretty defeated, and I mean, this is all written, right? So you're applying tone to text messages. But it was clear that he was just feeling defeated. And what sucks about that is you allow crappy people to define your reality when that sort of thing happens. And more than the ride, right? The ride itself is a byproduct here. What I wanted to remind Mick of is that there are good people, and that given an opportunity, they'll step up and they'll do things. People will be not bad, and just needed to give them an opportunity to do that. So I've been having fun watching Mick's ride. I have been vicariously sort of enjoying it, wishing I had the stones to go do it. And so I'm really excited to see him get back on the ride.
Well, Mick, thank you for coming and joining us. Ben, thank you for chatting and all the hard work you put into this. I think we're gonna hop over to cover this last and final race. Anything else that you guys want to say before we let you go?
Thank you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thanks everybody for being involved.
Yeah, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys.
Well, thank you, Mick, for all the entertainment and joy that you've given us over the years. And again, guys, this has been an absolute blast. And hopefully we'll see you on the road soon, Mick.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Yeah, cheers, guys. Yeah, nice one. Yeah, can't wait to get back. I'm leaving in a couple of weeks at the very earliest. So, yeah, can't wait to get back to Kazakhstan and actually see the country this time.
Absolutely. So, Mick Claridge and Ben Laughter here talking to us for the Mick Claridge charity races. We're going to take a quick break, though, before we head off to a slightly more serious race here at Rudskogen. Don't go away. We've got one more left this afternoon.
There's a bear in the woods.
Right, come on, you fatty. Come on, fatty.
I don't even know who lives in there or what the hell's going on there.
Could I sleep in there today? Oh, no room.
And we're on the way there. Ignore the fart. We go and a bit of that, a bit of...
Singers, James, singers I've got. My pedal broke, man. And thanks to Showdown Bros, Mick is on the most useless street in the world. Come on!
Always keep a shoe in your kitchen department, guys.
Don't worry, it's the COVID talking. It's probably wild boar, a few bears, a lot of women washing their cars saying hi on the side of the road.
Go on, Mick, feel it, Mick, feel it. I might be going mad.
Want to see me underwear?
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. both go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome to Rudskogen. We're here for the last race of the Where Is Mick charity races. And this I can't wait for. This has become one of my favorites on the service. Incredibly picturesque and certainly its own little challenge. Let's take a closer look since it's not as well known as some worldwide tracks. Welcome to Rudskogen Motor Center. Located about an hour and a half south of Norway's capital of Oslo, the southerly placement allows for a much longer racing season than you'd expect in a Scandinavian country. At just over 2 miles, or 3¼ kilometers in length, the 14-turn track makes for a perfect lower to mid-level racing circuit. A nice amount of elevation change and some truly picturesque scenery makes it not hard on the eyes for fans, but retains a delicious amount of challenges for drivers. There's, of course, the obvious places for passes, such as into the sharp chicane of turns 1 and 2. But in spite of the long downhill stretch into 3, it's way too fast of a corner to try and overtake unless you're seriously brave. 7 and 8 include a frustrating triple apex sequence that rises, drops, and then rises again, all within what effectively becomes a single corner. There's also the tricky combination of 13's swift entry, then a seemingly never-ending final right-hander to dump you onto the main straight. With it being part of iRacing's base content, drivers are likely to get plenty familiar with this track, and they'll need to, thanks to the very technical layout. But overall, it's easy to see why this is a popular destination for all Norwegian motorsports fans. Well, surprisingly, the second Norwegian track to show up on the iRacing service, but certainly a welcome addition here, Craig.
Yeah, it's a very fun track. Jake Sperry earlier this week said that this was Shanghai Light, and you can see it with the way that first sector starts with that quick left hand into the sweeping right hand long hairpin. But it's nothing like Shanghai when you come down to turn 3 and turn 4. On paper, it looks like a long drive down to that sweeping double right. It isn't. It's downhill. And in these Toyotas, where the car wants to play with you, the front will give way. We may see some drivers pushing the limit too much around that corner and losing the rear of that car. The tires will want to fight you. That's a corner of a million different racing lines. And then the S's, it's very tight. Don't expect to see battling in those S's. Expect to see it near the end of the track with that final corners at 13 and 14, even turn 10. It's a tough track to make overtakes in, Joe.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to try and get track position, so qualifying could be key here, which they'll have about 10 minutes and 1 lap to set, but the race itself going to be 20 minutes in length. In the new Toyota GR86, running for the first time in competition in the real world this year. I had the joy of getting to call those races with DJ Clark. They do have an incident limit, so they can't abuse the track limits like you saw with the trucks there. So they have to keep it on the pavement and indeed have to watch out for the runoff area because there's a few spots where you can pick those up easily. They do have a spare car because, again, this is for fun. This is where it probably gets a lot more competitive between the drivers because this is kind of the end-all, be-all race of the weekend. But we do want as many drivers out there as possible in the end. So this 20-minute race is going to be taking place pretty soon. Most of the drivers have gone out and tried to set a lap. Only 9 have actually managed to put one on the board. We're still waiting on Ove Trangere. No, actually, he has failed to set his lap. Looks like Glenn Becker as well. And for some reason, Gatorick is showing a time, but is not showing up on the timing tower. That is a strange one. But otherwise, Shedlick has the provisional pole right now, much closer than what we saw in the trucks here, Craig. He's only got about 600ths over Aitor Sintes Galindo.
Yeah, good to see Aitor out here today. I believe he couldn't make the first race. I'm sure he'll probably explain why he couldn't, but he's out there at the moment. He set his lap time, just a few more drivers around there. Togo Hisada as well, in a car that feels a little bit more up his street in terms of it's not got big tires, you don't go off the track, and you don't have to drift it. But you can drift it because these are the cars that were the precursor to that classic Toyota that you would see a lot by the kids in Japan using for drifting, especially that old classic car from the initial D anime series.
Yeah, and honestly, I can tell you, having watched them in the real world, they love to drift through the corners. By the way, Togo, love this paint scheme. As someone who grew up watching racing in the 90s, this is something I saw in the few times that I saw rally racing, saw that paint scheme a lot. So I approve, as it looks like qualifying is now over. So let's go through the starting order. Jim Shedlick on the pole, Aitor Sintes Galindo hopping from the Nissan into the Toyota and starting on the front row. Togo Hisada from the Lotus into the GR86, starting from third. Emerson Gaudin, good qualifying in fourth position there. And Phil Lake translating well also here, starting from the top 5 today. He'll be flanked by Bill Tyler next to him. Then you've got Bjorn Ackerman on the inside of the next row, and Rob Olenek going to be starting in 8th. Next driver and last driver to set a time, Isan Gin, as John Olsen rounds out your top 10.
Very quickly into the second row, Ove Trengaride will be 11th, Mick Claridge 12th, Gary Ho will be 13th, and Ben Laughter 14th. Yuri Geisen will take 15th, and Glenn Becker 16th. Jess Saunders 17th, and Andrew Gatorick, 18th position there, as I believe they're almost all on the grid waiting for this.
Yep, rolling start for this one, and it is decent on the track, honestly. 88 Fahrenheit, about 31 Celsius. That should be good temperatures for them, as you'd expect in Norway. Even here during racing months, it's nice and cool out at 65 Fahrenheit. Little bit windy, though. 10 miles an hour, about 16 kilometers an hour. So wonder if that'll blow them around a little bit.
I probably will. I'm trying to think to myself where North is on this track, but do expect it to just cause some issues with some of the cars driving along. And I do like to say, we're talking about how Togo's got the old classic Castrol livery there. I see a Team Tom's livery there from Aitor Sintes Galindo. So when I think about the Toyotas, I think about the Tom's team, and what you see from your old the old video game days and the Super GT, and as you were saying, the Rallycross. It's just really almost our path and our history has caught up with us with some of these cars, and we get to see these liveries from the past on the cars that they should be on. That's right. I'm going to call it out, Joe. I don't like seeing a livery that shouldn't be on a manufacturer it shouldn't be on.
Yeah, we actually have rules from iRacing for certain broadcasts on that. By the way, speaking of one that looks appropriate, and also that was Gaudin's purple car that we saw, which looks gorgeous. Take a look at Ben Laughter's. This is extremely appropriate, and this, again, harkens back to an era I grew up watching, that old TRD scheme that has the orange, white, red, and yellow on it. Looks perfect on this car.
I actually made a replica serious parody of that for my NASCAR at one stage. It's just such a unique thing. I think a lot of it is due to the fact that in these old times you don't have the ability of all these colors and these stickers and everything, so you just go for what stands out, and it's pastel colors on a white background, and that TRD is iconic, because if you've got a Toyota anywhere in iRacing, that's a livery that a lot of people want to make.
Yep, I've seen it applied to many different Toyota and non-Toyotas, honestly. There's the Pro Trucks, another one where it showed up in real life, at least for the stadium trucks back in the day. Very similar style of racing, and fits on there quite perfectly. So as we come up into turn 13, you'll see this pace car peel off early out of 14 as they'll have the entry. Glenn Becker there ready to go on this one. There it goes off to the side, giving control to Jim Shedlick. 20 minutes of racing this one. Who is going to be able to take all the marbles here today as the green flag is out and Shedlick gets a very good jump over Sintez Galindo. Toga Hisada going to try and challenge him down into the first corner.
Trying to challenge him into the first corner, but it's not going to work. And into the braking they go behind. It looks like Philip Lake's got ahead there of Gordon, and he does indeed. Ackerman making the position drop. Everyone's making positions uphill. Tyler starts in the pits. A couple of drivers going a little bit wide there, almost a free wide in the background as they head down the hill.
Trangrade also got spun there as he had a little bit of contact. Didn't see who it was with. Down into turns 3 and 4 for the first time in anger. Shedlick is still going to lead. So hard to get the car woed up through here, but such importance trying to get the power down up this steep hill.
Yeah, going up the hill as well. And of course, 3 and 4, some drivers would like to take it wide, some drivers won't like to take it wide. And we see Philip Lake just in the background behind these guys. You may see it in the mirror, just getting past Emerson Golden, who made a mistake. Hisada, there he is in the background. There is Gordon going behind Philip Lake now. He continues on. This is the place where you just want to stick yourself now. Another downhill, all the way going to the forward of that car, downhill, and then back up the hill they go from into turn 11.
Oh, Ben Laughter slides in the background, but thankfully nobody runs into him. Does check up a few drivers as he falls back down the field. Shedlick leading by about half a second over Sintez Galindo, who sees Hisada filling his mirrors.
Hisada is looking. He's got a really good run, but he's going to have to take off the throttle a little bit. Look at him just holding down to second, now into third gear. He's got a really good run. Is there any slipstream there for Aitor Sintez Galindo? I don't think there's going to be. Can he make a move right here? Is it going to be a bit too early? Let's not use those parts repaired quickly. Hisada decides not to do it.
Love this. Top 4 all have championships in their respective series. Here comes Mick Claridge fending off Olenek and Becker, 2 champions in the Lotus 49s as well. Olenek paling in comparison to Claridge, who has the most wins and most championships of anybody in the Lotus 49s.
Everyone always tries to be like Mick Claridge when it comes out to driving. Glenn Becker as well having his little battle as well with Olenek as well. Can he hold on? Ben Laughter's behind them as well. And just look at how that car wants to fight on that entry into turn 3 and again into turn 4. The TC can't be turned off on these cars to try not to ride it or even touch it.
And Becker has got that car of Ben Laughter very close behind him. He's trying to see if he can find some sort of opening, but like we said, it is so tough to pass here, Craig. Let's see if he can do it down into the hairpin.
Let's see, can he make a move into the hairpin? It's got to be some late braking, and that's very late braking. He gets it in, he's fine, but he opens the door up, and Gatorek is going to get past Becker. But there is an overlap still as they come down into the tight turn 12. That's going to be very tough for Gatorek to do it. There's a spin, double spin.
Becker turned around as well, as I think that was Laughter, who found himself once again losing traction and couldn't keep the car pointed forward. They shuffled down to the back of the field.
Back of the field they go. Let's just have a quick replay of what happened to all of these drivers here. You just start to see it's very tough there. I was keeping my eyes on what happened with Gatorade trying to get around the outside, was unable to, and just getting a bit too hard on the throttle there with Laughter, and then that little tap by Gatorade there to make the spin. It can happen on a corner like that, so many different speeds.
Yeah, it looked like maybe the curb helped rotate the car a little bit as well. As we come back to the battle for second place, Sintez Galindo still ahead of Hisada. Interestingly, Shedlick has not been able to put them away from him. They are still in range.
Yeah, you got to think, though, this is the caliber of Aitor Sintez Galindo and Hisada. They know to battle, but they also know how to not lose time. And I think they realize, yes, nothing's on the line here. It's more bragging rights, but they want to not lose time here. So some drivers like Hisada there would probably go for that move, decide against it. Just like there, though, there's a little open there for Phil Lake trying to get into Mick Claridge.
Second time they're getting to race one another, and once again, not in familiar cars as they usually do. A little bit of a look from Phil, but then backs out of it. That almost opened the door for Gatorek behind him. He's got to be careful.
Yeah, got to be very careful here as they come around this section. Let's see, can he do anything? Oh, almost a touch there from Phil Lake as they push hard into these corners. This is one of the flattest parts of the track they're in now. And now as they finally get around it, they're going to hit the downhill. You see Shedlick there taking a fastest lap, and he is starting to pull away. But we're keeping our eyes on this, because a really good run out the final corner here for Phil Lake could be a difference.
Ooh, and I think Quesada's got a good cutback coming out of turn 2. Down the hill, he might finally have a pass done on Aitor Sintes Galindo. He's got the inside on the long right-hander. He just has to finish it and try not to give a chance for the over-under for Aitor as the number 1 tries to cut back, but he can't. He has to run far out, almost off the track, and gives it up.
There was a chance there for Aitor to make that move, but it just got blocked off by Quesada. Phil Lake now having to make a long move around, and Mick Claridge decides to go wide. Let's not go 3 wide here, guys. That's Phil Lake, that's Mick Claridge, and I believe that as well, that is Gatorink as well, getting past both of them after they both made a mistake.
Yeah, and they're getting a slowdown penalty for that. If you go too wide off of that corner, they will give you a time penalty, so they have to give that up, and now it's one against the other, while Gatorink runs off laughing.
Well, yeah, he's not Ben Laughter, but he is laughing, and now Phil Lake trying to take that inside, but look at Claridge. Mick knows how to drive a car. He gets a traction around the outside of Phil Lake there, and that will set him up for the inside. That's a fantastic bit of driving by both drivers there.
Still working on the outside, but Lake gets fed back to the racing line as Mick Claridge now into P8. Fantastic stuff between them. Now let's head back to Glenn Becker, who still is in a fight for what looks to be 15th. That's Isan Gen and Gary Ho directly in front.
Yep, he's in a battle. By the way, after you said fantastic driving there, you know, Mick did make a mistake going wide there, but we're watching these drivers, Becker trying to get a run. Now, he does have a really good run here, and Gary is going to hold him off. He's going to have to do this around the outside. If you can get it stuck at turn 1, you might be able to get this going into turn 2. He decides against it, though. Becker, cool as you like, takes that position.
And just as that was happening, Lake and Claridge had to dodge around Andrew Gatorick, who had spun through that first corner and almost swapped positions once again. I think we might have a replay on that. So here is Andrew coming up to the first turn. I find this to be an incredibly tricky corner, this uphill braking.
It's uphill braking. It's so sharp. You want to carry as much speed as you want. Remember how the drivers hate that first corner, Oschersleben? This is what it reminds me of. It's a little bit wider, a little bit more driving room, but that's what he can do. This is Mick Claridge and Phil Lake. They're going side by side as they come down the hill. These two, they haven't fought for quite a while, and they're having some fantastic battles out here today.
Very lucky from Mick there as he was entering so shallow. He nearly went into the side of Andrew, but did not make contact. So battle for 7th now between them. Coming down into turn 12. He's going to be able to fend off Phil Lake still at this stage, but both of these drivers are hard fighters. They are not going to give this one up easily.
No, and they are racing as well with a lot of respect. That's John Olsen. He's got a little bit of battling side by side with Emerson Golden, and he holds off as well. Wonder what's going to happen for round 5 of Phil Lake and Mick Claridge, as they're going to have to try and make a move, and almost came together. But meanwhile, more battles elsewhere. We can't just keep focusing on the man of the hour, Mick Claridge. We've got other battles to watch.
Yeah, this is Gowden and Olsen. Olsen having a much better race this time in a more traditional car for him. Club West driver hounding Emerson around these corners, not able to get the side-by-side as they weave their way through the S's now, as we said, very steeply uphill, but also another very long corner. Look at them slide these cars into there.
Yeah, it's so tough, that final part there, 7 into 8, because you're going uphill and then you're quickly going downhill, and you've got to fight that car just to hold on. Now, here's the man that decides that he wants to get involved. That's Ove Trengerade getting in between the two of these. I believe there's been a moment out on the field between Phil and Mick.
Yeah, Mick had a monster save but lost positions. This is worth a replay here. It's actually amazing that he caught this car. Look at that drift. You were talking about these Toyotas known for that, and well, he's making good use of it here.
I never thought Mick was a drifter, but, you know, anyone can do anything, anytime. A fantastic save, though. In some respects, using the grass to even just keep that car a little bit under control, and then having to still keep that momentum, almost getting involved with the others. But a brilliant save there in some respect there for Mick Claridge.
And he's still racing. He's in ninth now. In fact, he's side by side with Andrew Gaterick, who had his own little spin earlier down into the first corner. Let's see if Andrew can get this one right. And hopefully Mick can once again avoid trouble in racing side by side with this Castrol livery Toyota, wheel to wheel into the turn, neither willing to give way. Bjorn Ackerman off at the side of the track that we saw there briefly. It does look like Gaterick will retain 8th place.
He will retain 8th place in front of him. Yes, you see 2 wide in front of him as well. That is Gordon and Olsen. They're having, sorry, Trengerade and Lake going side by side, but these are the drivers trying to hold on. These two start fighting. The rest of the field's going to start opening up, and everybody wants to make an overtake all of a sudden going into these corners.
Yep. Oh, a little bit of a bump to the behind of Mick Claridge as Gaterick got a better run but had no place to take it. Tyler going to be ahead of Jeff Saunders there. Up to the top of the hill, another spin. That is Phil Lake this time. Tries not to spin back onto the track. Keeps it from going onto the racing line, but 1, 2, 3, 4 cars go by.
4 cars go by. It was just hard driving from Phil Lake. He just lost the rear of the car. Like we were saying, going up the hill and then down the hill. Gaterick defending himself against Bill Tyler now, but in front of them, this is all bunched up again. Trengerade and Claridge fighting in front. This is almost going to be a 4-car little duel at the moment here with 9 minutes left to go.
Gaterick versus Tyler, as well as the battle here between Claridge and Trengerade. Trengerade actually only just finally set a clean lap last time, as he did not have a best lap showing, which means he had an incident at least once per lap. Remember, 10 incident limit before they actually is it? It is a DQ, so he can't afford to abuse that too much. He's got to stay on the track. As here we go again between Gaudin and this is between Gary Ho and Glenn Becker here. This is for 14th position.
Yeah, they're still battling on as well. Becker getting ahead there, and of course you see Ben Laughter in the distance behind. He wants to catch in their little 4-car pack at the moment. Rob with Glenn, with Gary, with Ben, and that all rhymes, and they're all going in a single file at this moment as they continue on. Again, look at the different lines they're taking through this final line. Becker likes to take it a little bit late on the apex there, but Rob decides he wants to go early when he gets to that apex.
Yeah, this track certainly opens itself up to some interpretations. We've been seeing that a lot. Now, Togo Hisada has been steadily closing in on Jim Shedlick. I've been watching his lap times, and it's down to 0.6 of a second. It's not been a lot each lap, but it's been enough. There you can see the comparison. Only time he was slower, lap 6.
And even then, at lap 6, it wasn't a massive difference. Well, it was 0.2. That couldn't do anything, but it did not wipe out all of what he has gained so far. And now he's finally on at the tail. Been watching those lap times myself. I was thinking to myself, maybe not, but he's there now. Shedlick does have a little bit of a battle on his hand. Togo really is liking this car, it feels like.
Yeah, he is shining, especially here at the end where it looks like he's starting to get a handle on it, picking up speed on Shedlick, who he's raced against in the Lotus 49s a number of times already. Both of them taking as much of that curb as they dare through the S's. And I'm honestly, the one thing that I love is, just like in real life, these cars put on fantastic side-by-side racing. Just incredible stuff. As we're going to check back in with Claridge, taking a little bit of a look down the inside on Gaterick, but can't get the overlap.
No, he had a sort of a slowdown, so unfortunately had to get that position away. Now this is Shedlick. You start to see he's really on the tail now, is Hisada. Gonna have to look for a move. Now it's tough. It's tough to take the momentum into 14. You have to get the momentum on the exit, because if you don't make that momentum on the exit, you're gonna compromise yourself. So it's gonna be tough. We won't see a move here from Togo this time by, but it's food for thought as he continues to close in.
Oh, and Ben Laughter gonna get down to the inside of the 9 as they both break as deep as they dare, maybe a little too deep. But as they weave their way through the hairpin, Glenn Becker with a better exit, almost gets down to the inside of 12, but no dice.
battling everywhere. And Becker, I think he had a little bit of a smirk on his face there after that move. They both knew they went a little bit deep there. How deep is your braking? It's the new song coming out by the... It's not How Deep Is Your Love, but even still, Becker. Now look what he goes to do. He gets the traction, he gets the throttle. That is what I was talking about when I was looking at Ove. And I believe he just made a misshift there or something, because all of a sudden, he's losing time.
They're paddle shifters, so that's a bit strange that if he missed the shift on that one, but looks like he is going to at least hold on to the back of him through 1 and 2, down to 5 minutes left to go. It's getting to the end of it, and I just saw on my screen Hisada had a look on the inside into the hairpin, couldn't get the overlap, but he's starting to go on the attack of Shedlick.
Yeah, trying to put the pressure on. That's what he needs to do. This is Togo on board, trying to find places he can start to put the aggression. Maybe start to ask the questions to see what Shedlick does. You know, Lewis Hamilton-esque, pull the car out to the side to try and bait them into making a defense. He's a bit too far back this time. It's not been the best of laps for him. I think he's going to be losing a 10th this time to Shedlick, but more battling behind them, as that looks to be Trengarade and Gatorek having more battles.
What a race for Ove here, up 5 positions from where he started, side by side, coming through turn 12, but Ove's on the outside. That's not going to work out. Gatorek, though, up 11 spots from where he started, and here comes Mick Claridge once again.
Yep, here comes Mick. I'm not going to talk about Ove. We cursed him last week in the Camel, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut as that's another long, wide lap there for Mick. That's not going to help you there, Mick. That is not the pro trucks anymore. You do have off track. Can Ove make a move here? He looks for it. You start to see it. Not this time. Some good little battling there, but Gator at 11 places. Let's not also forget, John Olsen quietly made up 6 places, and he's in P4.
That wide run gave Mick a slowdown penalty, and he's not served it yet. He's got to be careful. If you take too long, you will get a black flag in a drive-through. I'm still not seeing him having served it. It's almost like he's just ignoring it at this stage.
Oh, come on, Mick. I know there's a couple of laps left. I know you just want to go racing. That might be the plan. In fact, I think he is. But here we go for the lead. Toga Hisada is going to have to make a move here. He's going to have to go side by side and around the outside. Does this allow him to get a little bit of a switchback? The car's there for Shedlick, though. He may not be able to get it this time.
Just had a big look and unfortunately couldn't make it stick. And yes, Mick Claridge has a black flag now. So he's going to have to serve that one. No clearing it this time around. Toga Hisada with another attempt down the inside. Gets side by side. They don't touch, but it was close.
It was very close, and they almost touch as well. I believe Togo's just on the radio to apologize for what happened there. Hard battling by these two, but that had cost him. It's cost him, yeah. There was a slowdown. I think he cut the inside.
And Jim's slowed down with him. He wants this battle to carry on. He's having fun too, so he's slowed up just a little bit, and the battle carries on.
Mick Claridge just getting DQ'd. You'll see him going down the order, but we're not going to look at that. We're keeping our eyes fixed on this. The respect by both drivers. They want this. They want a little bit of a fight. They know with 2 minutes to go, anything can happen, and they are battling hard. Down the hill goes Hisada. He can't find a way through, and he's not getting on at the throttle and the traction. He's going to have to wait again.
And I think that was incident limits for Mick, unfortunately, because he's given 3 laps to serve that stop and go. But he instantly disappeared. That's a bit of a shame. Even Yuri Geeson chimes in your own race, Mick, disgraceful. So I'm sure he's not too upset about it, but a bit of a shame to see it end that way. Meanwhile, will this end in tears between Hisada and Shedlick, or can they keep it clean to the finish? Oh, back to Phil Lake in a fight with Jeff Saunders.
Yeah, Phil Lake battling with Jeff Saunders, and they're going side by side down the hill, and it looks like Jeff does have that run, so he's going to be able to defend this position, but around goes Lake. It's going to be tough. Can't get it done. Is there a cutback? That car's in the way. Such is the nature of these Toyotas. He gets the run, though, but you try a cutback, and with how slow you get off the throttle sometimes, that cutback's not doable.
White flag is out. We're on the final lap for Shedlick and Hisada as they plunge down into 3 and 4 once again. What can be done from here? Togo's a little far behind. He's going to have to get closer to make a move, and he gets an excellent run down through the second apex.
Gets a good run there, but now he's going to have to hold on that dirty air through the S's, and he's fighting. He's looking to see if he can just hold this gap. He just needs to make sure not to lose any time here. He goes a little bit wider to get on the throttle, but he's losing time there. I think he scrubbed off some of the time there as he gets on the exit.
Yeah, way too wide there, coming off that long left-hander. What about down through the hairpin? The car slides a little bit. He loses traction. It's just not quite there. Jim Shedlick pulls himself at arm's length away. Hisada is going to have to take a wild diver, having a phenomenal run off the final corner. I just don't think it's there. He's not close enough down into 13, switching back into 14. I don't think he's got enough for it. Jim Shedlick is going to take the win here in the last race of the Mick Claridge charity races at Rudskogen.
Brilliant racing by both of them. They're still battling elsewhere down the field because Gatorek has to hold off Ove Trengerade, and he's in a similar situation. But a mistake from Gatorek coming out of turn 10 into 11 may set this up. It's going to be a tough one to make it 12, and Trengerade can't make it. There's still an overlap, though. They've got one last section to go through. Can Gatorek hold his P6?
Ove's trying, he sends it in way too deep. The car breaks traction. That's going to put an end to it, as Gatorek is going to get 6th place after starting 17th and dead last. Impressive stuff. Phil Lake gets 8th, as behind them looks like Saunders is going to beat Bjorn Ackerman to the line.
Yeah, Saunders just had a spin there. He was battling Phil Lake, and at the end, and he just pushed too hard on the exit of 14, and he just lost out there. So he holds on to 9. Ackerman just could not catch up. Fantastic driving around everywhere. In fact, you look at it, most gaps are about a second away from each other.
Oh, this was a beautiful combo. We're going to take a quick break, though. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews. Don't go away. We've got more here for the Mick charity races.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
There's a bear in the woods.
Right, come on, you fatty. Come on, fatty.
I don't even know who lives in there or what the hell's going on there.
Could I sleep in there today? Oh, no room.
And we're on the way there. Ignore the fart. We go, and a bit of that, and a bit of that.
Sangers, James Sangers, I've got. My pedal broke, man. And thanks to Showdown Bros, Mick is on the most useless street in the world. Come on!
Always keep a shoe in your kitchen department, guys.
Don't worry, it's the COVID talking. It's probably wild boar, a few bears, a lot of women washing their cars saying hi on the side of the road.
Go on, Mick, feel it, Mick, feel it, feel it. I might be going mad.
Want to see me underwear?
Welcome back to Rudskogen. This was a hoot. Both the races today were some absolute terrific fun. And Jim Shedlick managed to take home the win only a second ahead of Hisada, who fought him hard the entire way. Sintez Galindo did finish third. Didn't really get to talk about him much in the second half of the race, but he was a factor there for some time. John Olsen looking very fast today, going from 10th to 4th. And Gaudin in that beautifully liveried car claimed himself top 5. Gatorick fought hard from 17th to finish 6th today. He beat out Ove Traingrade, who was racing hard at the end and finished in its 7th. As Phil Lake, unfortunately, a little bit farther down than I think he would have liked. He was 8th. Jeff Saunders was 9th, and Bjorn Ackerman falling to 10th.
We go to the second page. Still some great battles we saw here. Ben Laughter finishing in 11th with Glenn Becker as well in 12th. Those with, I believe it, with Ackerman still having some fantastic battles there. Olenek having a 13th position, and Gary Ho was the last car on the lead lap in 14th. Isan Gin, unfortunately, 15th and disqualified on the penultimate lap. Bill Tyler had to take a pit stop. He will finish 16th. And Mick Claridge in the principal's office for a disqualification quite early. Yuri Giesen did not take the grid.
We do have our winner ready to talk to us, Jim Shedlick, with the victory here today, and had to fight hard for it. Jim, it looked like you did slow down at one point, but even still, it looked like Toga was keeping you honest this race.
Yeah, Togo found some great pace midway through the race. I could see him just getting faster and faster, and I was trying to learn from what he was doing just by looking in my mirror, but I could see a few places he was better than me. But yeah, it was a good battle at the end.
It looked like you took to this car like a duck to water, and I have to say this track and this car put on a fantastic show. What are your thoughts on the GR86? Is this your first time hopping in it?
I raced it once during week 13, just one of those kind of short Wreckfest races, just to try it out, and it was pretty fun. Definitely, this was a good track. Pretty fun place to work with it. Not a lot of power, but definitely a fun track to kind of keep the momentum up around some of the corners.
Well, we can't thank you enough for coming out and taking part in this. Today looked like it was a lot more fun than what we saw running alone in Lotus 49s. Are we going to be seeing you show up a little bit more this season early on Saturdays?
This season, I probably won't be able to, but I hope to usually make about 2 races or so a season. So yeah, probably next season I'll be able to make a couple starts again.
Well, sad you won't be able to join in the fun of the last few this one, but definitely look forward to having you on the track more next season when it comes around.
Thanks, appreciate it, and appreciate you all hosting this event. It was a lot of fun and for a good cause.
Absolutely. That was Jim Shedlick, your winner here today, barely ahead of Togo Hisada, who has caught up with Craig.
Yep, I'm here with Togo Hisada, and Togo, it felt like through the race you were getting more and more comfortable with this car.
Yeah, I have a confidence with this car because I got a win in the Advanced Master Cup some season, so I have really get used to this low power and the very rolling tuning. So the big close to Jim, but he's blocking pretty well, and he's not doing mistakes, so it's really difficult to pass him.
Yes, is this your first time around this track? Because how did you find the battling? Because it's a very tough track to make overtakes on.
Yeah, so make the pressure and the fake move and the and the just playing. Yeah, but yeah, he's a great driver. So yeah, he's ready. Yeah, it's difficult.
We've seen you for both races today, and you've had fun in both races, including a lot of battling in both. Which race did you enjoy the most?
It's about the track. Yeah, I love it, really love. I love it, and I hope that listening just that make the unofficial race every week. Really great racing, yeah.
Togo, thank you so much for turning up today, and thank you for the fun. We look forward to seeing you racing in the Legend Series. Until then, thank you so much. Do you have any shout-outs you would like to give?
Yeah, of course, the Ben Laughter and the GSRC, SimRacing Channel guys, and all you guys, it's a really great event. I'm enjoyed today, so yeah, it's really fun, and hope to, lots more like that, more things future. Yeah, really love it. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Arigatou gozaimasu. Toga Hisada there, who came P2 in the second race today.
I think we've hooked him on a very American style of racing there. Let's take a quick chat, though, with Heitor Sintes Galindo, who finished third. And at first, it was a hard fight between you and Togo, and then you kind of fell by the wayside. What happened, Heitor?
Well, pretty much what happens to me is basically the only car that I am pretty much decent to race with is the Nissan, unfortunately. And the rest of the cars I'm... Well, not good enough for my taste, but unfortunately, even though I had to sacrifice the Pro Truck race, even though it was fun to watch, had to practice because I didn't practice. I didn't know the combo. I never raced at Rudskogen, never driven the Toyota. It was like I had to practice, and even though I had to do it. Togo is just still Togo, a very, very excellent driver, very good pace. So, yeah, when I made a mistake, it's like, well, let's just cruise to not victory, to the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think you sell yourself short. That was an excellent drive, and you showed tremendous pace in the car. Are you going to stick to the Nissan gist, or is this expanding your horizons a little bit?
Nah, definitely sticking to the Nissan. This is a car that I think it's a front-wheel drive, and I've never been a fan of front-wheel drive cars. I might be mistaken, of course, just the style, but to be fair, it's a pretty nice car. It's very easy to drive, to trundle around. It's very. I should just shame that it's barely reaching 100 miles an hour, but it's a very fun car. Not gonna expand the horizons on this car in particular because it's not as fun as trying to avoid Audis on the Camel, but still, it's if I had like a nice off days, like why not? Let's try this car.
Yeah, I can understand that. And I can tell you they are rear-wheel drive. I know they're so understeery that probably doesn't feel like it. But excellent drive to a third place. Again, I think you showed some great pace out there. And thank you for the entertainment today.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks, guys. Thank you, the GSRC. Thanks, Ben, for the host. And thanks, everyone, for joining. Also, yeah, see you next Racing Camel.
Will do. Heitor Sintes Galindo with a third today. One last chat, though, with the man of the hour, Mick Claridge, who sadly didn't get to finish that one. Mick, I'd say, even though you only got to take part in half of the 2 days, it looked like you had some fun.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I love that truck race, Joe. That's me all over, I tell you. If they ever put those things on a road courses and stick some jumps and all the rest of it, you might see me disappear from the 49 a bit, you know. That and 1970 Trans Am. iRacing, if you're listening, make some Trans Am cars from 1970.
We'll see what we can sway them to do. But again, Mick, thank you for taking part in today's races. Thank you for all that you've been doing, and can't wait to see you out on the road once again.
Yeah, cheers, guys. I mean, you know what's coming now. Yeah, thanks to Ben. Can't thank him enough. Thanks to everyone who showed up. Like I said to you yesterday, the vast majority of these guys already donated on the GoFundMe, so it's just staggering that the guys have put this much of their hard-earned cash into this ride and helped to support it. Thanks to you guys at GSRC, especially you, Joe. You're doing a massive job there getting these episodes out. So, yeah, can't thank everyone enough. Thanks to my son, sitting next to me now, let me use his rig for the day, which he never uses.
Well, given a good thrashing here today, that was Mick Claridge, who sadly didn't finish very well in the race, but certainly is finishing well in our hearts, giving us lots of fun out with his ride around the world. That's going to close it up for the weekend of the charity races. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Ben once again for all that he did to make this happen, as well as to the team, Brian, Joey, Dougie, and Craig King, who helped us out over the course of the weekend. Make sure to check out our social media, our website, and our merchandise store that we've got listed on the screen. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. The next race that we've got coming up is the Lotus 79s in about half an hour here, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.